The dolls, the undead, cannot live at all, and yet they mimic the living in every detail sense. Though they cannot speak or weep, still they project those signals of signification we instantly recognize as language. I've had a morbid fascination with dolls from a young age. I'd often go to the neighbor's house and play with their fashion dolls since I only had Ninja Turtles and Star Wars action figures. Maybe play isn't the right word. It was almost like I would observe them. I was transfixed by their outfits, their hair, and their faces, frozen in perpetual pleasantry. I was able to pick up some of the smaller Barbie toys from McDonald's Happy Meals, but due to their lacking quality, I usually sacrifice them during the annual fall bonfire. Please don't start psychoanalyzing my childhood fixation with sacrificing my toys to the gods. I'm sure plenty of kids did that, right?
Well, once I got a Barbie for Christmas, and eventually I tore its head off.
None of them held my interest like the elongated, slender plastic of a Barbie doll, or even the statuesque severity I felt when looking up at a mannequin at the mall. Who were these women? Were they mothers, sisters, wives? Labels that I had been taught from a young age. I didn't know how to define them. They resisted definition almost. Barbie could be anything, but what did she want to be? I guess that's the thesis of the Barbie movie, so let's not talk about that. Maybe what I should have been asking was, what do I want her to be? But it never really crossed my mind. I would never have had a Barbie, and with time, I would mostly forget about this fascination. By the time I had a little sister with dolls of her own, I'd move on to other interests. Video games, movies, television, and books. I had a voracious appetite for media, and consumed everything I could get my hands on. Unfortunately, my options were limited to what I could find at a local Blockbuster or on television. Maybe these limitations were actually beneficial looking at today's landscape. These days, I tend to scroll through the options of what I could be watching rather than watching anything at all. Back then, I'd watch anything new that showed up at the shop or on TV. This limited aspect of media increased the FOMO around specialized genre media, specifically the holiday specials. These television movies and shows could only be seen once a year, and I was obsessed with watching them all. Valentine's Day had a couple. The summer was a barren desert, but once fall hit, the television was filled with timed exclusive media. Halloween ushered in a time where I'd track what was showing, from It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, to The Halloween Tree. I wanted to see them all. However, the movies during this time weren't anything special from a limited perspective. I could watch Halloween or Hellraiser anytime. I was often found scouring the horror aisle of my local movie store, a phase that just so happened to overlap with my musical phase. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever fully outgrown either of those. After a couple of Thanksgiving specials and the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Day Parade, the television schedule would give way to the peak of holiday entertainment, Christmas time. I would have my TV guide at the ready, trying to fit in every special, from the must-watch Rankin and Bass specials to the TCM Christmas movie marathons. I was spoiled with options. Ziggy's Christmas with Richard Williams' ghostly melancholic take on a baked potato man. Pee Wee Herman's Christmas special with the iconic Grace Jones arriving in a human-sized packing crate. Judy Garland singing her heart out in Meet Me in St. Louis. The California Raisins belting it in a Claymation Christmas special. The Gremlins wreaking havoc and mayhem. Pac-Man helping Santa save Christmas from those dastardly ghosts. Drew Barrymore, Keanu Reeves, and Pat Morita chewing the scenery in the train wreck that is the 1986 television film Babes in Toyland. And what is probably Jim Henson's greatest work of all time, The Muppet Family Christmas. The schedule was absolutely stacked. Fox, aka ABC Family's 25 Days of Christmas, was my time, and I thrived. Now it seems as if they just sort of roll out a Harry Potter marathon and play whatever Grinch media they have sitting around. It really makes me appreciate what I had and the era in which I was born. The older I got, the options seemed to shrink as networks trended towards the crowd pleasers, with less of a focus on niche specials. I'd have to set my VCR to record Rankin Bass's The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus or The Leprechaun's Christmas Gold. But even though I can easily recall all of these, there was one TV movie that I couldn't quite recall. I knew it had a living doll, and for the longest time I just assumed it was the DCOM life-sized. However, I could swear it took place during Christmas. Well, after decades of hiding in the recesses of my mind, itching away, I finally decided to scratch that itch and search for the movie. A movie that was surprisingly easy to find. It starred the iconic Olivia Newton-John in her first television movie about a young girl who wishes for a mother and is gifted with a living mannequin. Little did I know at the time, but this movie would lead me down a rabbit hole of mannequins, animated dolls, and maybe even some insight into human desire. The television film A Mom for Christmas first aired on NBC on December 17, 1990, and did not receive a physical media release until 18 years later in 2008, exclusively through the Disney Movie Club. This meant that if you wanted to see the movie, then your only chance was when it aired live.
Little girls love Keep the Magic Alive.
Till Christmas, never forget.
Olivia Newton-John's first TV movie, A Mom for Christmas, on NBC, Monday.
The more well-known Disney movies, or DCOMs, from the late 90s and early 2000s typically received VHS and DVD releases after their original air date, but a number of early Disney television movies were trapped to obscure time slots on one of their various affiliate channels. The script for the movie was adapted from a children's novel by Barbara Dillon, which, according to my out-of-print physical copy that I just happened to order offline because of this video, was published in 1990. The screenplay was penned by Jared DePejo for Steve White Productions, a company owned by producer Steve White and mostly known for their TV movie adaptations of sequels to other works like 1989's Amityville Horror, The Evil Escapes.
I believe that the evil in that house could transmigrate into that lamp.
I saw Daddy last night.
It was a dream.
Or another house. Or another person.
Or 1993's The Adventure of Huck Finn, the latter of which being their most notable collaboration with Disney. Most of this information is easily accessible online, but while searching eBay for a copy of the movie and the book, I noticed a strange listing for a press packet. Being a financially responsible person, I made an offer instead of buying it at the listed price and ended up getting it for half off. Much of the information was simply summaries of the plot, headshots of the actors, but this is actually the place where I discovered the movie as a book adaptation, as well as a plethora of information on the pre-production and staff. The producer, Steve White, approached Olivia Newton-John about starring in her first movie in 6 years. After reading the script, she signed on as long as she could work with a mostly Australian staff. Olivia was interested in making the film after focusing on motherhood for the past few years, a choice that correlated with her establishment of her new fashion line, music career, and various humanitarian programs.
I think it made the part appeal to me because it was about a mom, and I haven't done any acting in about 6 years, and this was the first thing that I read and I went, oh, I really like this story. And it's probably because it's about a mom and a little girl, and it's a very sweet story.
After dropping a more mature album, The Rumor, in 1988, she released a self-described, self-indulgent album, Warm and Tender, in 1989. And that same year, she was made a Goodwill Ambassador by the United Nations Environment Program. Her choice to make her return to the screen in 1990 with A Mom for Christmas seemed like a springboard for her to get back into the film industry.
So what happens next for you?
After this, I go back to Los Angeles and resume being a mom, and I have a clothing business, and so I have that to run. And
Koala Blue.
Right.
How do you do that? And you're the Goodwill Ambassador to the environment. You're a mother. You're a singer. You're an actress. You're a wife. How do you do all that and get it all done?
I don't know. They say ask a busy person to do something, you'll get it done. I guess I'm just organized. And for instance, I took one day off from shooting, and I flew to Alabama for the Werner Van Braun Memorial Dinner, who was the man that created NASA. And I went there as a representative of the UN, and we did a forum that night. So I I'd committed to that before I did this movie, but it makes life very interesting. I meet wonderful people, I travel, I learn a lot about the environment, and I know I managed to fit it in somehow.
Her previous film, Two of a Kind, had been a flop at the box office, and the 1980 masterpiece, Xanadu, while having seen more modern success as a cult favorite, was also a notorious flop.
Fantastic Cruises Dinner Theater proudly presents some poor soul on the downswing of their career doing a tribute to Olivia Newton-John.
Xanadu, can't cry on cue. Now I am here in Xanadu. Here you go, ma'am. I talked to the chef. There's no cream in the soup, just like you asked for. Xanadu.
Sadly, both her film and music careers had to be put on pause in 1992 when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, something that would continue to be a shadow over the rest of her life. Even though she would be battling cancer for the next 3 decades, she never let it dampen her shine. She continued to fight for human, environmental, and animal rights, becoming a beloved figure who often worked with the Children's Health Environment Coalition and the Why Me National Breast Cancer Organization, as well as various other organizations. In 2008, she raised funds for the Olivia Newton-John Cancer and Wellness Center in Melbourne, Australia, by leading a 3-week, 228-kilometer walk along the Great Wall of China. She was joined by various celebrities and cancer survivors throughout her trek. The walk symbolized the steps cancer patients must take on their road to recovery.
Long forgotten, the weather is now turning cold, and Olivia is struggling.
I was coughing and I had a fever and a sore throat, but I knew I had to. I was the leader. There was no way I couldn't take a day off. Other people took days off, but I knew I had to keep going.
These represent only a small amount of the aid that she's provided to the world, and more information can be found online and in her various biographies. That all said, getting Olivia Newton-John for a television film was a pretty big deal in 1990, so the rest of the production would have to meet her caliber. Newton-John would co-star along with the young Juliet Sorcy, who would play the child lead Jessica, and Doug Sheehan, who would play Jessica's father Jem.
It'd be un-American not to be attracted to Olivia Newton-John. Are you kidding me? I mean, I can only put it this way. Have you ever been mellow?
The other most notable member of the cast was soon-to-be 5-time Emmy Award-winning actress Doris Roberts. She would receive her career-defining role in 1996 in the sitcom Everybody Loves Raymond, and would continue on in cult film culture, being a part of National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation and having the titular role of Grandma Lily in the 2006 movie Grandma's Boy.
Sophie's tea from the tin on her dresser? Oh, we thought it would be nice to drink it in memory of Sophie. I can hear my hair growing. You want some soup?
I'm okay, Grandma. My grandma drank all my pot.
The director's chair would be filled by famous Australian auteur George Miller. What? Not that George Miller. Not the Mad Max one, the guy who did Happy Feet. No, we're talking about the George Miller who did The Neverending Story 2 and Aviator. You know him, right? He'd be a common Disney television collaborator during this time and go on to make many other television movies of the 90s. The final star for the film would be the department store, the primary location for more than half of the movie. The filming would mostly take place in Cincinnati, Ohio, at the then-known Lazarus department store established in 1878, now known as Shillito's department store. Miller said this location was picked for its Art Deco designs and Frank Capra feel, a filmmaker who he was attempting to emulate throughout the production. All the clothes in the department store and worn by the mannequins were part of the Olivia Newton-John Koala Blue line, and decorations for the rest of the set were brought in from nearby states, including a total of 25,000 feet of Christmas lights. The wildest part of all this was that production would only have a few weeks to film in October and November so that post-production could finish the movie before its scheduled December 17th release date. Within 1 year, the book was published, adapted into a screenplay, completed pre-production, filmed the movie in a few weeks, completed post-production, and aired on television the week before Christmas. But how was the final product? We've been looking at all the elements that came together to make the movie long enough. Grab your cups of eggnog, light those extremely safe open-air candles on your Christmas tree, I know you've got those, and settle in for Disney's forgotten masterpiece, A Mom for Christmas. The movie opens with an establishing shot of Milliman's and a gorgeous logo. Olivia Newton-John sings the theme song as the camera pans around the store, showing us a first glimpse of our main character Jessica, who looks like she's pretty much a chronic shoplifter. The film suddenly cuts to a Santa mannequin in a trash compactor who's saved by Doris Roberts.
Stop!
Joe, cut it!
Excuse me, passing through. Oh, excuse me.
She hides him in the back of the store and dusts him with her little magic feather duster. An employee who we will come to know as Mr. Morelli is watching Jessica as she examines some of the brushes and mirrors. He too thinks that she looks like a total shoplifter. That hat's a choice, and if it had a flower in it, then it'd probably be the most 90s hat possible. Jessica shoots some death glares to the girls with moms, and then we get a quick acknowledgement of Stephanie, Jess's best friend, who's much more prevalent in the novel. Jess stumbles on the haunting Olivia Newton-John mannequin. Its lifelike qualities are almost as horrifying as the Harlequin jesters decorating the store. A group of kids comes up and starts bullying Jessica for having a dead mother and dressing like a kleptomaniac.
What are you doing here by yourself all the time? She's waiting for the shopper special.
You know, average 90s kids behavior. One of the kids, Chip, clearly has a crush on her, but is completely spineless and just lets his friends roast her.
Oh, I think she's waiting for Chip. Oh, leave it alone. Oh, come on. She's a dweeb.
Stephanie drags Jess away so that they can go get some free stuff from a strange wishing well that's located in the middle of the department store. Stephanie is unimpressed with her gift, but Jessica gets a strange free wish card from someone named Philomena. Doris Roberts is lurking in the background, clearly plotting something. When Jess asks her about the free wish, Doris reveals herself as Philomena after trying to gaslight the child with magic tricks.
There's nothing there.
But there was.
Oh, this.
Philomena's a mouthful, so I'm just going to say Phil from now on. Phil makes Jessica pick up some trash, something this movie will place a lot of emphasis on due to Olivia Newton-John's focus on the environment.
Well, I can only suggest.
Oh, that's not mine.
Oh, well, I know it, but it's still there.
Phil sits Jessica down and asks her about the wish.
What do you want the most for the holiday season?
In a candid conversation about her dead mother, Phil isn't creepy at all, knowing Jess's whole backstory without so much as a hint.
No, never mind.
Oh, no, please, Jessica. Please, tell me.
How'd you know my name?
Your mom moved away when you're only 3 years old.
No, when I was 3, she died.
Well, that's what I meant. All right, you want a mom for the holidays, starting from tonight at midnight until midnight Christmas Eve, right? But first, put that on.
What?
And gives Jessica a necklace with a promise that she will do what she can.
How'd you know my name? And about my mother?
Oh, honey, you are an ocean of feelings. I heard you before you spoke. I hear wishing.
We cut to an establishing shot of Jessica's home. Her dad's getting home, but immediately gets a call from his giant car phone. Meanwhile, Jess is inside putting a subliminal message on the family computer.
But guess how much
For
I
your
paid?
information, Miss Smarty, I have already purchased one of your Christmas presents.
Dad's name is Jim, and he's played by soap actor Doug Sheehan, who delivers on generic white businessman who's way too busy with his job to take care of his family. A trope that's going to get pretty redundant with these movies. He lost his wife when Jess was a toddler and hasn't moved on to the point of neglecting his child. Meanwhile, back at Milliman's, Mr. Morelli is bickering with Phil. She insists he cleans up some litter, and his true colors are revealed when he refuses.
The glass is half empty.
Oh.
These boxes, they're empty too.
There's an empty cup on the counter behind you, Mr. Morelli.
Yeah? Ain't mine.
I know, but there it is.
After hours, we get the first taste of true horror, Dutch angles, and Phil using her magic to bring the titular mom to life. Back at the Solcombe estate, father and daughter are bonding during a horrible rainstorm. Jess wishes to know more about her dead mom. It's literally the only subject she wants to talk about lately.
Tell me about the three of us.
Oh, Jess, we've been all over that already. Your mother had the knack for finding things. It didn't matter what was lost. She had a sixth sense, especially about you.
When the clock strikes midnight,
Dad!
the doorbell rings and Olivia Newton-John appears at their front door, preparing to barge in just like Mary Poppins.
Hi. Sorry I'm so late, but the storm. I'm here about the ad.
Ad?
Yeah, room and board in exchange for afternoon and evening childcare.
Another case of gaslighting and girl bossing.
I thought about placing an ad, but I never. Did you, Jess?
Nice house, no music.
She introduces herself as Amy and doesn't bother explaining why she decided to show up at midnight. Jess, having realized this is the mannequin from the store, begins trying to remove various price tags from Amy's wardrobe. She can't have her father thinking that her new nanny is a kleptomaniac. All the while, Dad is just making weird jokes and passes at Amy. He doesn't seem to care about the strange woman that's shown up in the middle of the night. She's Olivia Newton-John and she's hot, so he's just gonna go along with it.
Is this my hair? How do you keep it in place without tape?
A lot of people think that there's, not very much to modeling other than, being beautiful and being able to pose well, but well, I'm sure there's a lot more to it than that.
Like what?
They agree to put her up in the apartment above the garage until she can find something else.
Oops, sorry. I'm always just pinned together.
Dad, Amy made breakfast.
Well, she has.
Amy makes breakfast the next morning and it goes about as well as you'd expect.
Chicken noodle.
She tells Jim that she and Jessica are going to Milliman's so she can apply for a job and secretly pay off all of her clothes.
Come on, Jess. Bye. Bye, Dad.
Morelli has noticed that the missing dummy and a bunch of stuff is just gone overnight, because why wouldn't he? He has to be on the lookout for shoplifters now more than ever. He's going to sort of be our overarching paranoid antagonist.
Who? The shoplifters, the purse snatchers, all the punks who come out of the woodwork on Christmas.
On the way to the store, Amy just sort of randomly starts roasting a woman in the middle of the road.
Oh, you know that scarf really is just too much with that outfit. What?
Girl, the shade of it all.
Don't forget about the litter either.
Philomena says we should always do what we can.
Amy introduces Jessica to the mannequins throughout the store. Bill's the stuck-up. Wilkins loves his cars.
Cars. This is Wilkins. Hi.
And then there are these weird, futuristic, and soulless horror creatures.
No. There's not a spark there.
Amy can apparently still understand what the mannequins are saying and just sort of stands around talking at them for a while.
Relax, this is definitely the best store in town.
I'm sure there are a lot of cute guys out there, but they all come in here eventually.
Nothing strange here, right? During the interview, Morelli identifies the shoes on Amy and suspects that she is the shoplifter. Jess sort of wanders around and talks to the mannequins like any sane 11-year-old would do at this time period, and is immediately spotted and bullied.
My name's Jessica. Hi, little doggy. Hi, Squirt. Talking to mannequins, huh, Jessica? Baby, maybe we can go out sometime.
Stop it. Get some help.
Amy has a smooth job interview and easily gets the job since she's a beautiful white woman.
You didn't fill in your age.
Oh, I'm 8.
Well, I'm sorry that you can only join us during the holidays.
Oh, me too. But my time is limited.
Popcorn party and tree decorating time. Yay!
This is the funniest food in the world.
You can't eat it one at a time. Just put a whole bunch in your mouth.
Stephanie's mom calls and tells them that she can't take them tree shopping, so they're going to have to find another solution.
Oh, no. We don't have another way to get there.
Got an idea.
The only logical one is to have Wilkins the mannequin drive them. I guess the department store is in walking distance, but the tree farm isn't. Amy and Jess sneak over to the store and creep past some of those horrifying mannequins.
Oh, look.
More and more of them. Less of us.
But what do you mean?
Replacements.
What happens to the...
Come on.
Amy's Australian, Wilkins is British, and the mannequins are from other countries, I guess.
Oh, this is Jessica.
Hello there. Purrs like a cat. Drives like a dream.
Also, Wilkins is a horrible driver for someone who spends all his time in a car. He literally destroys the store on the way out.
Sorry.
He knows what he's doing. Jessie. Whoa. Sorry, Betty.
Sorry.
They run out of gas and they have to push the car to a gas station.
What is it?
No gas.
Amy tries to pay in her jewelry, but the attendant just gives them gas for free because she's hot. I guess that's a benefit to being Olivia Newton-John in 1990.
Sorry.
Excuse me? This is kind of an emergency and we don't have any cash, but I do have a bracelet here worth well over $5.
All right. It's my treat.
Thank you.
Original gas tank.
Wilkins refuses to watch the road, endangering their lives.
Purrs like a cat. Drives like a dream.
Wilkins, will you please watch where you're going?
Oh, sorry.
After this whole ordeal, they finally get their tree, and Wilkins starts malfunctioning and leaves for the store.
Can you make it back all right?
Dreams like a cat. Purrs like a drive.
Uh-oh. His fingers fell hard.
Hurry, Wilkins.
They destroy a picture of dead mom while bringing the tree in, and Amy gets really curious about her.
She's very pretty. Like you.
Her name was Vicky. I wish I could remember her.
Jess, where are all the photos of you?
They don't actually have any tree decorations, so they improvise by hanging toothbrushes and trash from the tree, a perfect way to help the environment. Almost as good as an idea as using actual candles on the tree. This could never go wrong. I know they did this in the past, but why? Why would you think of doing this? They surprise Dad, and his response is to make a super awkward come on to Amy over some eggnog.
To a great tree. And to a beautiful holiday guest.
They look in the eyes, and suddenly the tree's on fire. Who would have thunk?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Fire extinguisher!
Amy tries to put the eggnog on it as a little treat, just a little bit, and Dad goes and grabs a fire extinguisher. The tree engulfs the living room, destroying all the family photos with dead mom in them. Dad is devastated and pissed at Amy.
I want to be alone with this.
This causes Jessica to be mad at Amy, and now there's an actual conflict in this otherwise uneventful plot.
Why do you want to help me and do things for me? Because it's in your books?
No, Jess. Because I care.
You care how I look, you care how you look. What do you do now since your books are all burned?
Morelli notices some tread marks and dirt on the tires the next morning, but I guess he doesn't notice the entire store just sort of being wrecked. He's so suspicious now, like super suspicious. He also digs up some of the girls' jewelry in the back seat. The next morning, Dad's sort of squatting in the corner. I assume he has been there all night.
Are you sure you don't want some gazpacho?
No!
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she made gazpacho. Amy and Dad have a confrontation in the kitchen.
Truth is, I don't have any family. Not one living soul. Except now, I have Jessica. I like to do what I can for her. She really needs somebody.
She has somebody. She has her father.
Then why did her father stop taking pictures of her 8 years ago?
Jessica skips school again to go look at babies in the store or something. Dad follows her to the store and starts trying to learn about his daughter for once.
Mrs. Garcia tells me you come here a lot. Why, Jess?
I come here and I watch the people shopping. Watch the girls with their families. With their mothers.
Jess?
I'm okay, Dad.
I know you are. But I've been away for a long, long time.
And I guess Amy's talk made him realize he was ignoring his daughter. Amy then tries to make it up to Jess by playing matchmaker and inviting Chip to hang out in their burnt down living room. This goes over extremely well.
Little accident, huh?
No, it just got a little cold in here last night.
Why did you call him?
Because of the way you feel about him, Jess. I thought you'd be thrilled.
How do you know?
I read it.
Where?
In your diary.
Jess is pissed at Amy and finds out she's been reading her diary. Amy has no boundaries and really upsets Jessica.
I think I better go.
Things aren't always this weird here.
Oh, they are at my house. You really don't understand. You don't. How could you be anybody's mom? You're not even human. I should have wished for a sweater and you should have stayed in your store.
We get a musical montage as Amy sadly plays with her hair, Jessica broods, and Dad works. Amy starts crying for the first time.
Will your face forever haunt me? Will your heart ever want me? Can I ever hope that you might return?
That only took one shot according to the director. Newton-John is a professional. Jessica says that she takes her wish back and throws her necklace away.
Take it back. I take the wish back.
She's overcome with an ominous feeling when she sees that Amy is turned back into a mannequin through the window. Just kidding, that was a fake out. And now all the conflict is gone. Who needs that in a movie, right? The movie suddenly cuts to practice for Jessica's Christmas pageant. Santa can't make it to the show and Jess is convinced the whole thing will be ruined.
Bad news. Santa Claus can't make it. I'm afraid the Santa statue we had on order got lost in the Christmas rush.
That creepy redheaded bully gives me Kid from Christmas Story vibes.
Now's your chance.
See you on stage, Slocum.
Jessica finally has the peak 90s hat. It's got the little flower in it and everything.
He's gonna sabotage me up there.
I don't think he's going to make a very good Santa. And I think that if you want a real Santa statue, you should have one. Something dangerous and possibly impossible.
Amy decides to go get the Santa statue from the store, you know, the one from the opening, and Operation Sneak Out Santa begins.
Well, this is the unmerriest Christmas I ever spent.
Upon getting to the store, there's a Santa jump scare. Woo! He's alive after all.
Nick, when the store is closed, the three of us are going to sneak out of here. Okay with you?
Oh, jailbreak, right?
Right.
Now Milliman's has cameras all of a sudden, and they opt to take Santa out the front door, even though they were shown entering through a back door earlier in the movie. I don't know if this is supposed to be logical. This is all done to show that the mannequins can now raise their hands to cover up the camera and save the day. Other mannequins trip the guards and commit other hijinks as they run along with Santa.
Stop! Come back!
Look at that!
Oh no, this is more like it.
After saving Santa, they come across lawn decorations of carolers and gnomes. I think they're like elves, but they look like gnomes.
Look at the carolers. And they have elves, too.
While distracted by the decorations, Santa gets hit by a car and explodes into a bunch of pieces.
Nick! No!
Nothing to see
Out
here.
in front of me, he just...
Nick!
Oh, my Lord.
Looks pretty bad.
Amy decides to wake up the lawn decorations in order to resurrect Santa. It isn't just like mannequins who are sentient now, apparently they all are. The gnomes and carolers drag him out of the street and start reassembling his body parts. Is Amy some kind of god with the ability to infuse life into these statues?
Did I miss Christmas?
No.
Good.
The statue returns and Santa is back, but now with like a full beard. Like, I guess it gave him more vim and vigor, or it just completely changed the Santa. The pageant goes about as well as you'd expect. Jess forgets her lines, but Santa whispers them to her.
Santa doesn't.
Doesn't know where to start.
Dad and Amy bond for the first time after putting Jess to bed. Dad makes his move and kisses her without her consent as she just sort of stands there looking shocked. It's a really awkward scene. They've known each other for what, 4 days now?
This is, I better go.
Go think.
Yes.
Would you,
She tries to leave, and he responds by kissing her again. Yeah, great job, Dad.
Would you think about this?
Apparently that's enough to get her consent, though, because now she goes back and kisses him. Afterwards, it looks like he's just released a massive fart and he just sort of passes out. Amy doesn't know about the birds and the bees, so she decides to go to the only person she knows, the 11-year-old daughter of the person she just made out with. What is this movie? What is even going on at this point?
It's my dad, isn't it?
Oh, Jesse, what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
Jessica goes to Phil the next day and tries to figure out how to extend the wish to give Amy full life, because she's supposed to like die at midnight on Christmas or something.
Those are the rules. A mom for the holidays.
But it can't stop now. She's too real. She's what I've always wanted. Not for Christmas, but for always. For all the things.
It's times like these that are supposed to be the happiest. It can be the hardest of all.
Jessica doesn't want to lose another mother, and Phil swears they're gonna hold on to her.
We will hold on to her with our hands and our hearts, and we might be able to keep her with us. I'll come to her at half an hour before midnight. Remember that, 11:30.
just become a mannequin again.
Honey, I try to save as many as I can. I can't save them all.
Morelli matches the bracelet on Jess to the one that he found in the car. I guess she's got duplicates or something. And he calls the cops on Amy and Jessica.
Are you Amy Miller?
Yes.
Is this bracelet yours?
No, Amy.
Yes.
No. No. She didn't steal anything. I stole everything, not her.
Jess.
Jessica admits to the theft, so I guess they just call her dad or something. They don't need to pull the cops into this, right? Meanwhile, Jessica tries to tell them the truth, and they think she's crazy.
She has to be home
No, the truth, kid.
so we can keep her from turning back into a statue. Then she'll be replaced by the ones with no face. She'll be recycled.
Don't mess with me, kid.
Amy confronts Morelli about the extra money showing up in the cash registers, the money she's been repaying to the store.
I've heard a lot of talk at the store about extra money turning up in certain cash registers. Haven't these missing items been paid for?
Well, is this true, Dan?
We can't be sure what the extra money is for. And there's still the missing mannequin. Now, why don't we have any record on this broad?
The police officer just sort of writes Morelli off as a joke, and Amy reinforces everything she told him earlier before leaving.
You admit it.
Yes, but the chauffeur drove. His name is Wilkins. He can come alive for 2 hours at a time. He's a mannequin. I'm a mannequin too.
You're a comedian, huh?
No, a mannequin.
Dan, we have to let him go.
Merry Christmas.
We'll see about that.
And yeah, rub that salt in the wounds, Olivia. They get a new tree, and they opted for electric lights this time. That's a probably much better idea. They exchange some gifts. Dad gets a new photo frame.
Oh. Speech. For everything that you've brought into our home. Excitement, laughter, firemen.
Ticket?
3 tickets. I want us to celebrate the new year in Hawaii.
And he decides to give Amy a big speech and 3 tickets to Hawaii. He's only known her for 10 days now. Geez, Dad, calm down, slow it down. Amy tries to run because she knows she's going to become a mannequin again. I'd probably be running because he's moving way too fast. Jessica goes to find Amy all bundled up and ready to be a mannequin again. She's back in her original outfit. Meanwhile, Phil gets stuck in some traffic.
But isn't there some way?
I feel it pulling me, Jess. No, Amy, she'll be here.
And then Amy is literally pulled by a supernatural force out of the front door. I kept waiting for Zelda Rubinstein to show up.
All are welcome. All welcome. Go into the light. You want to leave me? You want to.
It's ending. It's ending. It's over.
Amy picks up her bags and walks out the door while Jessica sort of just sits there and sobs.
Amy!
Then she runs to her dad and tries to get him to help stop Amy.
Dad! Dad!
What is it, Jess?
You have to stop her, please.
Stop who?
Amy's leaving.
Why? Where is she?
You have to help me stop her.
Where is she?
Hurry!
Welcome back, Amy.
Morelli spots her on the camera and is convinced this is his time to catch her. Amy just starts shedding her clothes as she walks through the aisles of clocks and past the snooping manager. Stop littering, Olivia. You went over this earlier. Stop throwing things on the ground. Don't know how Jessica and her dad got into the store, but whatever. Wilkins runs Morelli over with his car and ends that whole plot line for good. They finally catch up to Amy, but it's too late and she's already reverted back to mannequin form. Jessica just keeps saying,
Hold on to her.
And tries to convince her dad that the mannequin is Amy. He finally listens to his daughter and takes the mannequin's hand. Yeah, the first time you actually listen to your daughter is doing something that's sort of insane. Great job, Dad. Great parenting. Parent of the year. The power of their love brings Amy's body to life outside of the mannequin.
Do you really want me?
They all hug and go home. The mannequins bid Amy farewell as she goes off to have a life while they're all still trapped in their plastic prisons, probably going to end up in the trash compactor or something, replaced by those horrible avant-garde mannequins.
Bye, Amy. Have a nice life.
Come back and see us from time to time.
Bye-bye.
Olivia Newton-John sings over the credits, and the audience is just left to fill in the rest. We're left with a lot of questions at the end of the movie, but most of them are about the existential state of mannequins and not the actual plot. As far as the plot goes, I found the lack of conflict to be the movie's primary issue. Morelli's never a serious threat and is treated more of a joke throughout the movie. Jessica's immediate acceptance of Amy as a mother and Jim's instant infatuation don't allow for much growth between the characters. The one moment of conflict, the burning of the tree and the family photos, is almost immediately dismissed as soon as Jessica realizes that she may have wished Amy back into her stagnant state. However, the movie still manages to keep my attention every time I watch it. I attribute most of that to Olivia Newton-John's magnetic appeal, but the film also manages to have a lot of heart in a few key moments. Doris Roberts seems to truly understand Jessica's struggle of not having a mother, and the feeling of missing a loved one around the holidays is a theme that I think hits pretty hard for a lot of people, especially when that loved one is a parental figure. The other key factor to this movie's appeal is the second act. As soon as that tree catches fire, this movie goes off the rails. Santa getting run down by a car and then resurrected by a collection of horrific animated lawn decorations is one of the most memorable movie moments I've experienced as a child. And it's probably why this movie stuck with me for so long. Jessica's fascination with the department store, people watching, and mannequins in general were all pretty relatable topics to me as a kid. I was often stranded in the shopping departments for hours, biding my time with my mother peruse the clothing racks. I give the mannequins backstories, most of which had probably been me projecting the plots of movies and shows that I digested prior. Jessica's projection is something more profound, though. Not only does she put a story onto the mannequin, but a story of longing for a mother she's never known. Her subconscious desire to have the picturesque normal family Christmas has become a borderline obsession, and she is teased by the other kids for it. She's constantly at this department store to escape an empty house, and therefore it's almost poetic that a fixture from the store is what comes to life to fill the void in her heart. There's also a much more cynical story to be told about the ideas that consumerism and a little retail therapy are all you need to solve your personal trauma, but I don't think that was ever the intent of the author Barbara Dillon or any of the people involved in the production. The 80s and 90s saw a revolution in terms of consumerism with the expansion of the shopping mall and commercial advertising, especially in relation to children. There's a whole court case about it. Everything was a commercial for a product, but A Mom for Christmas doesn't really seem to have much to sell. It's a bit ironic for a movie that takes place primarily in a department store. While Newton-John's clothing line is on display in the film, it's never the focus, and in fact is never even mentioned in anything besides some supplementary marketing. A Mom for Christmas has a simple message of love that it wears on its sleeve, and that seems to have been the appeal that drew Newton-John to the project in the first place. It's a simple premise, but an effective one. The mannequin acts as a blank canvas for what Jessica needs, and Olivia Newton-John is the perfect embodiment of an untainted maternal love. While this may have been the start of my journey into the Mannequin-verse, it's far from the last. It's a picture that sits firmly in the center of cinematic mannequin representation and at a far tail end of the living statue trope, like real far. In order to get a better understanding of how and why the book and movie came to be, we're going to have to look back both to the time of the Greeks and just a few years prior to 1986's hit movie, Mannequin.
Nothing can stand in our way. Got to believe we are magic. Don't let your aim ever stray. And if your hopes survive,
Destiny will arrive.
destiny will arrive.
Bring all your dreams alive.
Bring all your dreams alive for you.
And here he is. Bring all your dreams alive
For you.
Don't give up. Here I am. And if you need a helping hand, I'm gonna be right here with you. You're not alone. I've been there too. And I understand what you go through. I'm gonna be right here with you.